Alright, how's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've uploaded. I'll admit, it's been a while. 5 months. But just ignore that because I made a game, baby! It's named 7 Days Until Morning, and it's an atmospheric horror game. I mean, this isn't the first game I've ever made, but also if you ignore all the bad ones I've made, it's the first game I've ever made. This one isn't bad, guys, I promise. I promise! Nonetheless, I thought it'd be fun to talk about the development of it to the 5 people who still watch me. So it all started a long time ago. It didn't even start on this game, as a matter of fact. The concept started after I finished Toinks Pops 2. I started working on a space game, and a lot of the kind of lore elements of that game moved over to 7 Days Until Morning. So I worked on a lot of games, actually, in the meantime. I worked on that game, and then I worked on like it was like a first-person shooter kind of thing, like Halo kind of story game, where the Earth was being kind of turned low poly. I don't know, I never really got too far in the concept of it, but like I made a bunch of the levels and kind of art of it, and I thought it was pretty cool, you know? And some of that moved over to this game. And then I was working on, it was like a roguelike kind of multiplayer first-person shooter thing. It was like cel-shaded, it was a Toinks Pops thing, and which probably meant it was going to be terrible, but nonetheless, not much came from that. But kind of over time, a lot of the concepts of that, you can really see it in the 2 space games. Specifically the first one, the one I started working on right after Toinks Pops 2 released. You can see a lot of the kind of elements of that moved over, and I used in 7 Days Until Morning, such as the CCOT and stuff like that. But moving on to the actual game, when I started actually working on 7 Days Until Morning. So the actual idea started off when a certain bird fell asleep a little too long one evening in early March. So I started to work on a new game. The original concept of the game came from a game that I saw Markiplier play named Something Bad Is on the Moon by Matthew Ager. I thought that the atmosphere of the game was fantastic, and I wanted to do something similar at first. Eventually, though, it slowly transformed into what the game ended up being. I wanted to encapsulate the feeling of isolation and also the feeling of being watched. That's how I ended up with Pluto as the setting, because I felt like it was the most isolating place in the solar system. Watching humanity get destroyed from a frozen rock on the edge of the system felt like a great way to get that feeling. I used Unreal Engine 5 for the game, and I know that all the Twitterzoids who've never used a game engine in their life get upset about games using it, but it's the engine I know, and I understand people's concerns with the performance of it, but if you just optimize your games properly, it's not an issue. And yeah, my previous games have had pretty bad performance, but that's a part of the learning process, you know? There are tons of games that run great on Unreal. I was considering using Unity or Godot for the game originally too, but my familiarity with Unreal, considering I had 2 years of experience with it by the time I started making the game, just led me to use it instead of changing to another engine. I'd love to make a video about Unreal and its reputation, but that's not the point of the video. I went with a PS1 art style from the start because I felt like it made the game creepier, and I wanted it to be able to run on a wide range of computers without having the game feel like it's worse quality on lower spec hardware. I forget what this part of the video is even supposed to be about. Oh yeah, the lore! It was inspired by Iron Lung. You know that game Markiplier is making a movie about? The game by David Szymanski? Blood Ocean, Big Eye Creature game? Yeah, that one. I like the terminal thing done in that game, so I did a similar thing in this game, but I wrote so much lore for it. I think there's something like 30 articles you can read on that thing. That was my favorite part of making this game, writing the lore. I think I'll make a change in like a future update where you can see all the search terms, minus a few, but it'll be when you type help in the terminal. Anyway, look at this guy. Oh yeah, this is Chardonnay Hot Rod, my billionaire OC. That's actually a terrible thing to say, and I don't know why I wrote that into the script, and I don't know why I'm writing or reading any of this either. Anyways, he's a character in those previous 2 piles of slop I made. For reference, I'm talking about Toinks Pops 1 and 2. The first one I made as like a silly, ironic mascot horror slop game with like a nonsensical story, and you know, I nailed that shit. I really did. I got exactly what I was going for, and it's perfect for what I was going for. I mean, it's bad, but it's like, it's good that it's... As for the second game, I wanted it to be even more nonsensical and like random, so I made it into a story, platforming, and adventure game, and the story is weird and stupid and crazy, and you go to like fucking Enceladus The first game was in a candy store in Baltimore. Don't ask what I did there, but the main antagonist and CEO of Twinks Pops and shit like that, his name is Chardonnay Hot Rod. I like him. I think he's starting to take over me like the symbiote. He has a bobblehead in 7 Days Until Morning. And no, he's not canon in this game. Anyways, I thought I should just give you that information. I actually don't really know how I'm supposed to make a video like this, so we're gonna do a segment called What was the easiest and the hardest to develop? I'll start with the easiest. The music was pretty easy. I knew exactly what I wanted and then made it, essentially. There was maybe a couple revisions in day 2 and day 4. That was originally gonna be like a music track. The day 2 original music, I still put it in the soundtrack on like Spotify and whatever. It's called Still in the Sky. You can go listen to it. The day 4 music, I did not put on it because it was unfinished, but I swapped it out to ambiance because I thought it lended better to the kind of atmosphere I wanted to give it. The environment was also on the easier side. I originally wanted it to be a larger map, but I thought the empty space would be boring and confusing, so I narrowed it down to just the area that's in the final game. I knew what I wanted to do for it, and I did it pretty quick regardless. The only thing I wish I did differently is I wish I made it a bit bigger. Maybe not as big as, you know, what I was originally wanting, because that would have been boring. But I feel like it being on the smaller and enclosed side gives it more of a hidden feeling than I'd like. Even in the middle of the frozen lake, which was the most open area in the game, it doesn't feel like you're exposed enough, you know? But if you were in the middle of like a big, large, open area, there's no hiding in there. It's like, imagine you're in a big scary room with a monster that you know is there, but you know, like you can't prove it, but it's there. But now imagine you're in a cardboard box in the middle of that room. You'd feel less scared in that cardboard box than just being out in the open in the middle of that big creepy room with the big scary monster that you can't quite prove is there, but you. Anyways, the most difficult stuff to make in the game was me trying to get the sound design right, which I'll talk about later, but the UI and also bugs. Oh my god, the fucking bugs. Those were difficult. That's just the nature of game development, having bugs, and then you fix a bug and it creates a new bug, and it just happens. It happens. Another difficult thing to get right was the game design, and that's clearly hard because I still didn't do it right when I released the game. The fucking door with 2 buttons. Like, give me a break! Give me a break. I've got to fix that. I have to fix that. I will fix that! But yeah, that sucked, and I should quit game development for good, and I'm terrible at it, and I should never do it again. That kind of leads into things I wish I did differently and the things I'm happy with. I wish I did a better job with the sound design because it just isn't particularly good. It's something I want to fix because it sounds weak and shallow for a lot of the sounds. And a lot of the stuff that should have sounds don't have any. Particularly day 6 I'm not happy with. I think that all the sounds in that day kind of sound not great. Well, okay. There's only like one sound though in day 6. There's like the door opening or the door falling. It just sounds weak, and it sounds like a sound effect I would have used in Twinks Pops 1 2 years ago. I'm beyond that. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to fix it. And I also wish I added some more variety to the days, such as having mini games instead of just interacting with stuff. As for what I'm happiest about in the game, I think it'd have to be the art style and everything like that. The skyboxes especially. I really like how I made those. I will note that I forgot to rotate the stars, so despite Pluto rotating, the stars stay exactly the same the whole game. I feel like a dumbass for forgetting to do that, but nobody will notice, except the fact I just said it, so people will totally notice it now. The lore is also something I really like. I think I did well on that too. Obviously, these aren't the only things I like and dislike about the game, but I also don't want to say them because I don't want to make the game sound like shit while it's my newest game. Alright, fine, I'll say it. I'll say it. I wish I did a more interesting overall concept. From the outside, the game just feels a little bit vanilla, and that's something I don't like. I had in mind that the lore of the game would be the main selling point, but that's a stupid thing to think because that's not the main thing on display. I'm happy with the fundamental concept of the game. Isolation and the whole fall of humanity and using environmental and atmosphere core instead of relying on a thing that chases you and jump scares you. But the game really does just look like it's a scary alien game where there's creepy aliens that spy on you. And I didn't market the fact that I was going for like isolation and the collapse of humanity and the environmental and atmosphere core, but like I said before, a scary alien game where there's creepy aliens that spy on you. And who am I to say that it's not just exactly that? How can I say that look at this cool lore and atmosphere when the game's just not interesting from the outside? I didn't use my strengths to supplement the lows, and that's something I'll take away from this game and into the next one. Same with all the other things I've learned, good and bad. This includes smaller things like making the markers clear and having them stay on the side of your screen when you're not looking at them or something, like every other game with waypoints. And, you know, the good things, like I'm happy with the secrets and the importance that they play in the story and the lore, and how it changes the environmental storytelling. But hey, enough of that! Check this shit out, guys! That's right, 7 Days Until Morning is coming to Xbox Series X and S on December 1st. It's coming December 1st. Also, I'm so sorry, my microphone broke. This is the only one I have. You know, I'm sorry. I can't really swap out the audios and have nobody notice for obvious reasons. Okay, this comes alongside an update to the game on both Xbox and PC that fixes a lot of the things that I said I disliked about the game. This includes redoing some of the sound design, making gameplay changes such as alerting you when there's a new waypoint, bug fixes of course, and like some quality of life stuff. I don't want to go fully into it yet since I don't have a full definitive list, but there's a lot I want to do. Now, I know this sounds like an advertisement, but also this is the biggest step I've ever taken in game development for me. Getting to work with a console like Xbox and a company like Microsoft is huge. Like I am so excited for this release, and I'm excited for you guys who play on Xbox to play it, if you guys want to play it. And I'm excited for the update too, but getting to work on Xbox and porting my game over and getting that experience is massive for me. And I am so happy and excited that I've had this chance. So yeah. That's what I've been doing for the past 5 months. Sorry for how long it's been, and I know this isn't a Destiny 2 video, so I hope you'll forgive me for that. Nonetheless, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, go fuck yourself.